This is Responsive Web Design, an online course developed by Aquent. Responsive web design, or promote yourself responsively, build a portfolio for all devices. This is Lesson 1, What is Responsive Web Design? This lesson will promise to be quick, useful. There will be no coding involved, although don't get used to that because upcoming lessons will have lots of coding for you. There will also be homework and a brief quiz at the end of the lesson. My name is Jeremy Osborne. I'm the academic director of Aquent Gymnasium. I've also been a designer, educator, and writer for over 20 years. This is Patrick Haney. Patrick helped us out on some of the lesson files for this course, and for that we thank him. So let's go ahead and begin. We'll talk about the structure of the course in just a moment, but let's begin at the beginning with responsive web design and the origins of the term. In 2010, Ethan Marcotte, a web designer, laid out the blueprint for responsive web design in this article on A List Apart. This article is required reading for anyone looking to understand the modern landscape of the web, and you need to read this today if you haven't already, right after this video if possible. Although the landscape of the web has changed slightly since 2010, I'll be using many of the concepts in this article throughout the lesson and indeed throughout the course. So one of the first items to consider is this. The web needs to adapt to its environment. In 2010, when Ethan wrote the article, the world was changing, and specifically the way we accessed the web was changing. We were no longer stuck to desktop monitors, we had smartphones, and tablets were beginning to come on the scene. And what this meant is we had to change and adapt to the environment. And when I say we, I mean web designers. Now, of course, I'm recording this in 2014, and a recent survey by Google came out with some findings that said 38% of our daily media interactions are on a smartphone. It's pretty amazing if you think about it. But what's more interesting is 60% of those daily media interactions were actually done at home, not on the go. And what's the point of this? Well, the point is to consider this term mobile that we throw around a lot. And specifically, we want to talk about mobile as it's related to responsive design. But let's take a step back and imagine this. In West Africa, the mobile internet is as widely used as fixed line internet. That's incredible. What that means is there are more people who access the web on a device, such as a smartphone or a tablet, versus a desktop. So obviously, this is changing all those people's experience on how to access the web, as well as designers who create the websites for that community. Now, if I was going to break responsive web design down to a single concept, it would be this: one web for all the things. What does this mean? This means we want our websites to work everywhere, to adapt to their environment, and we want to make content easily available to everyone, regardless of how they access it. So having said that, here is our surprise quiz. First quiz for you, okay? Are you ready? The title of this quiz is, What is a mobile device anyway? Okay, here we go. Number 1, an iPhone. Is that a mobile device? Okay, yes, easy one, right? Number 2, a Samsung tablet or any tablet. Is that a mobile device? Okay, go ahead and take down your answer. How about this, a laptop? Is a laptop a mobile device? And would you change your mind if I said that this particular laptop has a 3G connection, which allows it to access a cellular network? Okay, how about this? This is the Wii U game console. Is that a mobile device? And if I told you it had a web browser, does that change your mind? Okay, take down your answer. And finally, here's the trick question. A car. Is a car a mobile device? Of course, it has 4 wheels, but this particular car also has a web browser, which means it's a mobile device. So actually, what I want you to do is to forget about the term mobile for now. It's a bit of a red herring. Thank you. I'll be here all week. But seriously, what did those devices have in common? Well, they all had screens, they had an internet connection, they had a web browser, and if we were to take a look at the scope of responsive design, a common mistake is to focus on what we think of as these mobile devices. And that's really the main point I want to make here. Responsive design is not just about designing for smartphones and tablets. It's much more than that. What is it exactly? Well, as I mentioned before, we want to provide the best experience to our visitors no matter what their device. Another word for this could be resolution independent or the flexible web. So let me try to clarify that a little bit more here. In this illustration, we have 4 examples of screens or devices that we can commonly access the web on. So we have our smartphone, tablet, laptop, and then a larger desktop system. So how might layout work best on all of these devices? Well, for the smartphone, let's keep our layout at a single column. For the tablet, maybe there's enough space for 2 columns. For this laptop, we can make 3 columns. And for this big, nice, expensive desktop monitor, let's go ahead and give it 6 columns. Why not? We've got the space. So this illustrates a little bit about what responsive design is meant to do. Oh, and by the way, responsive web design is for devices and platforms that don't even exist. That's pretty cool, and I'm very much looking forward to this device. So as we begin to talk about how we're going to do this practically, I'm going to make some assumptions here. So I'm assuming that you speak HTML and CSS. So the following lessons are not for beginners. We're assuming that you've worked on the web before, and you understand that CSS floats are not something you drink. You probably should have experience working with JavaScript, although not necessarily coding it from scratch, but using it in your projects. And finally, you have a basic understanding of device differences. So example, the difference between a smartphone, a tablet, desktop, as well as browser compatibility issues. Let's dive a little deeper into what this course offers. So this course is going to have 12 different lessons. We're currently obviously in lesson 1. Each of these lessons will have useful assignments, readings, and resources for you to explore these concepts further. And you'll be building what we feel is a very important project, which is a portfolio site. So let's just take a quick look at what you'll be building. This is a responsive portfolio site using a fictional character here called Maya. And you'll be following along with me using code to create something like this. In fact, you'll be creating exactly this. We have a single column mobile layout here, and this expands to a 3-column layout as you saw at the beginning. So specifically, the things we need to talk about in order to get you here include HTML5 structure and CSS3 styling, flexible media, fluid grids, media queries, responsive layout, navigation, typography, images, concepts such as mobile first, progressive enhancement, browser and device testing, responsive optimization and performance, and finally, responsive design workflow. Yes, we have our work cut out for us. I do want to make one thing pretty clear. You are the one who will be creating your portfolio. So we'll be using these lesson files of our fictional designer in order to get you along the way. So in each assignment, I'll also be asking you to work on your own responsive portfolio, your own content, so that by the end of the course, you'll have something awesome to share with the world for all your hard work. If you have any questions, be sure to hit the forum in our classroom. There, you'll have access to TAs who are paying attention to what's going on in the forum. I'll be checking in from time to time, but your most important resource will be your other classmates. This is Responsive Web Design.